Are you ready to find out what are the top marketing tasks you can delegate to your executive assistant? In this video, I'm going to dive through the main outcomes that I've delegated to my own executive assistant when it comes to her essentially managing my brand, my social media, my marketing, almost everything. If you look at my LinkedIn, if you look at my Facebook, my Instagram, about 80% of those posts are probably going to be from my assistant. And it all really started by shifting my language from telling her, these are the tasks you need to do, to these are the outcomes that I am expecting. Now, how that happened is the first part is instead of saying, hey, I'm going to delegate this task of content planning for you, it's basically, hey, the outcome that I need is that the content is already mapped. Now, for me, I create 2 YouTube videos per week, one on my YouTube channel for virtual assistants and the other one for this YouTube channel for business owners like yourself. And for me, I really need that, like, hey, I will just hit record and I'll just talk, basically. So for my assistant, she is already mapping out what kind of topics, what kind of videos I can start creating, what are the ones that, questions that were asked in previous videos, or going into Reddit and looking at people's questions there. So for her, she knows how to research and plan out content that I can talk about, that I can just basically, again, just hit record and basically just talk to you guys for 15 to 20 minutes, and then managing the rest of that process of mapping out what the future videos would look like. Next is essentially, instead of saying, hey, can you make sure that the content is repurposed, I would say make sure that it is visible on the right platforms. Now, if you are creating your brand or you're building out your brand, one of the things is you want to be visible on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, just like this video. And it will have different formats and it will have different basically requirements of how to be able to show up. Now, instead of just saying make sure that the content is repurposed, making sure that it's visible on the right platforms, making sure that it's formatted in a way that makes sense for people who are just scrolling through TikTok versus someone who's intentionally researching something on YouTube. Next is caption writing. Now, in the last year, I actually asked my assistant to go through what were our top 15 posts in the last year, and almost 50% of the top posts that we had came from her writing it as me. So instead of just saying like, hey, can you write the captions for this post, I would say, hey, can you make sure that this is aligned to my voice, how I write, how I think. And for her, it was basically just studying a lot of the top posts that I had before she basically started taking over the captions, as well as just her listening to a lot of my videos. She, of course, watches a lot of this because she makes sure that it's good before she sends it out or publishes it on YouTube. Part of it was also just creating an AI assistant where it's trained on my voice, and for her, all she has to do is to make sure to edit the draft that the AI writer assistant basically created and aligning it to brand guidelines we already talked about. And the key thing here is I always make sure to tell her that the CTA, or the call to action, has to be clear of basically what do they do next, what are the next steps for these people as they're going through the content that we've created. So for example, for you, if you scroll down to the description of this YouTube video, it'll have book a call with Leanne to get an executive assistant. And that's essentially what it is that every single post that is created has a clear next step. And that's how I delegated caption writing to her. Next is post scheduling. Now, I could be in a different place right now. I could be, in the last year, I've been in Vietnam, Japan, Thailand, and every single time just content got posted without me even on my phone. And the outcome basically that I gave her is basically making sure that we post consistently on all of the platforms. And that is the outcome that I gave to her. So depending on if it's on LinkedIn, if it's Instagram, we know that on Instagram it's usually best to post around lunch. On LinkedIn, it's usually best to post like first thing in the morning. So it is, again, tailored to the platform that the content will be posted in. Next is, instead of saying make sure that my profile is optimized, it's also making sure that, hey, make sure my profile is visible to the right people and credible. So what that basically means and what that looks like is, for me, I maintain a speaker profile. I have a whole portfolio essentially of different places that I've speaking on stage, me doing a webinar or training for another company. And she makes sure that every single time that someone asks like, hey, can I look at, Leanne's speaker profile, she optimizes it to match who we're trying to impress basically, or which speaking gig I'm trying to apply for. And it's making sure that it is aligned to what I've already talked about before. Next is is essentially delegating the task of comment or DM handling or handling the messages to just making it the outcome of making sure people are engaged or the engagement is handled. So it is responding to comments on YouTube, responding to comments on LinkedIn. It's also making sure that if anyone does send me a message on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever she is managing my messages, that they are responded to, even just a quick acknowledgement of like, hey, got this, like, hey, I'll get back to this with you as me, sounding as me, and making sure that people feel that Leanne has got this, Leanne's taking care of this. And even when I am on actual stage and I'm talking about how amazing my assistant is, and I tell them like, hey, make sure to go to my LinkedIn, send me a connection request, and my assistant will be the one to respond. That even as you guys are seeing me up here, kind of like a magic trick, someone else is responding to you as me, not even missing a beat. Speaking of engagement managed, one of the other tasks you should be delegating to your assistant is, instead of saying like, hey, I'm handing you my community to manage, is making sure that the community is growing and nurtured. So not just like making sure that people are welcomed or added into a Facebook group or a school group, or for me, I have a community at nas.io for virtual assistants who want to learn AI. It's making sure like, hey, we're listening to what they're asking. We're making sure that we're consistent on there. It's making sure that they feel that support and love as we are doing a bajillion million things every single day. So it's making sure that there is that consistency of being able to show up for the community so they feel, again, taken care of and nurtured even when I am not always available. Next is the task of content performance tracking. Now, every single Monday, we basically go through the numbers of how the content went, the engagement, basically the important numbers. And the outcome that I basically gave her is making sure that what works is visible. If we notice that on LinkedIn, more reels or more videos are actually popping up, making sure we do more of that. If on YouTube, community posts are actually thriving and doing really well, making sure we do more of that. Again, it's making the what works visible and obvious because we have the numbers and reporting for it. And lastly is just managing my content or my assets basically. And the main outcome for this is making sure that the assets are stored and visible, basically making sure that they're easy to find. If I'm trying to find out if I did this type of video a few years back, then I can easily just look it up on our content calendar that has all of our posts, and she keeps it up to date with the links so we can easily search it and go through it. And if I am repeating myself, how can I twist it and make this a little bit better for the next video or for the next type of content that I'm going to be creating? Having your assistant manage your brand and your marketing doesn't have to be this big scary thing. As long as for you, you are clear on the outcomes that you want them to create instead of just thinking of the tasks that they are going to be doing. And if you are ready for this kind of assistant who thinks more on outcomes instead of tasks, make sure to book a call with me below and we'll dive through what are the things that you can still delegate to your own executive assistant. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have when it comes to delegating certain tasks to your assistant. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Thursday on how to grow your business, especially with an assistant and AI. And if you want your own assistant to be trained a little bit better on what they do, make sure that they check out my first channel here. And you can check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and fantastic day. And remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!